Okay, good afternoon. My name is Semi Park, a master student of Professor Chang Kang, and my presentation is about feature extraction for efficient fault detection. So these are the contents. Semiconductor manufacturing process consists of complicated process, and it is important to detect fault during manufacturing process. So it is important to use only necessary equipment and sensors for effective and efficient fault detection. So this research, object of this research is reducing consumed resources by eliminating number of features for fault detection and establishing a model of minimizing error of feature extraction. So in this research, I applied progressive principal component analysis and to identify features which are highly contributed to fault. And then I employed the genetic algorithm to minimize the sum of the squared prediction error of selected principal components. Then by using this method, fault detection can be effectively done. So these are the contributions of this research. So proposing new feature extraction method considering classification performance and reducing error when using PCA model. So as I said before, semiconductor manufacturing process is very complicated and numerous sensors exist. So there are so many numbers of features. Then it is important to get rid of noise and correlations between variables by feature extraction and only keeping important information. So principal component analysis is a method that converts variables into principal components. So it reduces high dimensional data to low dimensional data. And progressive PCA is a method that after applying PCA computes SPE and control limit of selected principal components to detect fault. So it is a method to identify which features cause fault. And this squared prediction error means how much PCA model saves information from original variable. And you can compute like this. Then to judge fault, control limit of SPE is needed. So when significance level is alpha, then you can compute control limit like this by using these equations. So in this research, I employed genetic algorithm to minimize the sum of SPE and then select principal components. So the model of this research is like these equations. So the flow chart of this research is this. So first, I minimize sum of SPE by genetic algorithm and select principal components. Then I compute SPE and control limits. Then after that, I find out highly contributed variables, then remove those variables and repeat this process. Then after that, to measure fault detection performance, F measure was used. And the F measure is the harmonic average of precision and recall, and it can be computed like this. So for the experiment, I used the fault detection data in semiconductor manufacturing. And for the experiment, I select principal components by genetic algorithm and find out highly contributed variables by SPE and control limit. Then after that, classify selected features by support vector machine, then measure performance by computing F measure and learning time. So these are the setting of genetic algorithm. So you can see the first learning by using genetic algorithm. So the upper picture shows the objective function value of each population of each generation, and the lower picture shows the selected components. So after then, I compute SPE and control limit for all principal components and confirm that these 6 principal components exceed control limit. Then obtain loading value to check the relationship between each principal component and the original variable, and then remove variables up to the point where difference is more than 20%. If there is no difference of more than 20%, I will remove up to the point where the difference is more than 10%. So you can see the original features and the principal components. So I obtained the loading values of the 6 principal components. Then after this first running, I remove 31 variables and repeat the previous process. So I repeat this same process until the 9th running. But the F major was the highest after 5th running, and the number of removed features is decreased after 5th running. So I classify selected features of each experiment by SVM. So you can see the result of after each running. So you can see the classification time was most fast after first running when using 31 variables, and the F major was the highest after 5th running. But as you can see, the F major was the F major of after first running was similar to the 5th running, and the difference was just 0.36%. So I conclude that 31 features after first running are selected as highly impacted variables and target as intensive management. So these are the summary of this research. So I suggest feature extraction method by applying progressive PCA for improvement of fault detection performance in semiconductor manufacturing process. So I use genetic algorithm to minimize sum of SPE of selected principal components and evaluated the selected features of each experiment. Then I confirm performance is better when with the proposed method of this research than by using only original variables. Okay, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you.